Good morning, Virgo. Real quick before we start, I want you to know that whatever you're carrying right now, whatever weight you've been holding, whatever you've been quietly enduring, I see it and I'm honored you're here. Now let's talk about what's building. Listen, just listen for a moment. Because what I'm picking up on right now, what's coming through in the energy surrounding you, what's been building while you've been focused on just making it through each day, it's massive. And I need you to be present with me. I need you to really hear what I'm saying. Because there's something approaching. Something that's going to shift your reality in ways you're not fully prepared for yet. Something that's going to change how you experience your life, your relationships, your sense of what's possible. And it's closer than you think. Stay with me. Because I know you've been through storms before. I know you've weathered challenges that should have broken you but didn't. I know you've survived moments where you weren't sure you would make it to the other side. So when I say a storm is coming, I need you to understand what I mean. This isn't about destruction. This isn't about things falling apart. This isn't about losing what you've built. This is about transformation, about old structures that were never meant to last finally giving way, about situations that have been draining you finally reaching their breaking point. A storm, it clears the air, it washes away what's stagnant, it makes space for new growth, and that's what's coming for you. Have you been sensing this feeling that something significant is building? Let me know in the comments if this is already resonating, because here's what I keep picking up on in the energy around you. You've been holding on to situations that aren't serving you, to relationships that require more than they give, to versions of yourself that you've outgrown but haven't fully released yet, and you've been doing it quietly, gracefully, without complaint. You've been showing up, you've been staying strong, you've been managing things that would overwhelm most people, but underneath that strength, there's been exhaustion, deep, bone-tired exhaustion, the kind that doesn't come from physical work, but from emotional labor, from constantly managing, from holding space for everyone else while barely holding yourself together. And that exhaustion, it's been accumulating, building, compounding, creating pressure that had to release eventually. And it's about to. Not in a breakdown, not in a collapse, not in you falling apart, but in a breakthrough, in a release, in things finally shifting in ways that give you room to breathe again. Does this feel true? Drop a comment if you're recognizing this pattern, because let me tell you what this storm actually looks like. It's not one thing. It's not a single event. It's not a isolated moment. It's a convergence, multiple things reaching critical mass at the same time, multiple situations that have been simmering, finally boiling over, multiple truths that have been ignored, finally demanding to be acknowledged. And when they all hit at once, when everything that's been building finally breaks through, it's going to feel overwhelming at first, like too much is happening too fast, like you can't possibly handle everything that's shifting simultaneously, like the ground beneath your feet is moving and you're not sure where you'll land. But here's what I need you to hear. You're stronger than you think. You're more prepared than you realize. And you're absolutely capable of navigating what's coming. Not because you're superhuman, not because you won't struggle, not because it's going to be easy, but because you've been preparing for this moment for longer than you know. Every hard thing you've survived, it built resilience you're about to need. Every boundary you practiced setting, it created skills you're about to use. Every moment you chose yourself over people pleasing, it strengthened the foundation you're standing on. You've been getting ready. And now it's time. And here's what I'm sensing about the timing. When I say next month, I'm not being literal. I'm not giving you an exact date or a specific calendar marker. What I'm sensing is soon, very soon, in the immediate time frame ahead of you, not years from now, not some distant future moment, but in the coming weeks, the approaching phase, the next chapter that's about to begin. And the reason the timing matters is because you need to prepare now, not by bracing for impact, not by going into protection mode, not by armoring yourself against what's coming, but by grounding yourself, by strengthening your center, by getting clear about who you are and what you need, so that when everything shifts, you have something solid to stand on. Have you been feeling this urgency, this sense that you need to get your house in order? Let me know in the comments. Because here's what else I'm picking up on about this surprise. It's not what you're expecting. It's not the outcome you've been hoping for or the resolution you've been waiting for. It's something else entirely. Something that comes from a direction you weren't watching. Something that reveals itself in ways you couldn't have predicted. And that's why it's going to be so impactful. Because when you've been expecting one thing and something completely different shows up, when the story unfolds in ways you didn't see coming, when reality diverges from your assumptions, it shakes you, it shifts your perspective, it makes you see everything differently. And for you specifically, this surprise is going to be the catalyst for massive change, change you've needed but haven't been able to initiate on your own. Change that circumstances have to force because you're too loyal, too patient, too committed to make it voluntarily. Change that's actually in your highest good, even though it might not feel that way at first. Does this resonate? Comment below if this is landing, because I want to talk about why this might make you cry. Not tears of sadness necessarily, though there might be grief mixed in, but tears of release, tears of recognition, tears of finally being seen in the struggle you've been carrying alone. Because here's what I'm sensing. You've been strong for so long. You've been holding it together for so long. You've been managing, coping, surviving for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to not have to. You've normalized the weight. You've accepted the burden. You've convinced yourself that this is just how life is, that everyone struggles this much, that you don't have a right to complain because others have it worse. But that's not true. What you've been carrying, it's heavy. It's real. It's more than any one person should have to manage alone. And when this storm comes, when everything shifts, when the structures you've been holding up finally collapse or transform, you're going to feel the weight lift. And that release, it's going to bring tears. Tears of relief that you don't have to hold on anymore. Tears of grief for how long you've been holding on. Tears of recognition for how strong you've had to be just to make it this far. And those tears, they're sacred. They're necessary. They're part of the transformation. So don't fight them. Don't judge yourself for them. Don't tell yourself you should be stronger or more composed or less emotional. Just let them come. Let them wash through you. Let them carry away what needs to be released. Have you been holding back tears for too long? Let me know in the comments, because here's what I keep sensing about what specifically is going to shift. There's a relationship or situation that's been draining you, something you've been invested in, committed to, hoping would improve if you just gave it enough time, enough patience, enough understanding, and it hasn't improved. Despite your efforts, despite your loyalty, despite everything you've poured into it, it's stayed the same, or gotten worse, or revealed itself to be something other than what you thought it was. And this storm, it's going to force a reckoning with that reality, not through you finally having the courage to walk away, but through circumstances making staying impossible, through the other person's choices finally being undeniable, through the situation itself reaching a point where it can't continue the way it has been. And when that happens, when you're finally released from something you couldn't release yourself from, there's going to be relief mixed with the pain, freedom mixed with the grief, space mixed with the loss. Because even when something wasn't good for you, even when you knew on some level it needed to end, even when staying was costing you pieces of yourself, letting go still hurts. And that's okay. That's normal. That's part of being human. Does this feel aligned with your situation? Drop a comment if this resonates, because I also want to address what I'm sensing about the surprise element. There's going to be information revealed, truth that surfaces, reality that becomes undeniable, information about someone's real intentions, truth about what's been happening behind your back, reality about dynamics you've been part of without fully seeing them clearly. And that information, it's going to change everything. It's going to recontextualize the past. It's going to make sense of things that confused you. It's going to validate instincts you've been doubting. But it's also going to hurt, because seeing clearly sometimes means seeing things you didn't want to be true, because truth doesn't always feel good even when it's necessary. And in that moment, when the surprise hits, when the truth reveals itself, when you see what you couldn't see before, you're going to have a choice. You can resist it. You can fight against what's being shown to you. You can try to maintain the version of reality you've been operating from, or you can surrender to it. You can let yourself see clearly. You can acknowledge what's real even when it's painful. And if you choose surrender, if you choose clarity, if you choose truth, that's when the real transformation begins. That's when you move from being someone things happen to being someone who consciously shapes their reality based on what's actually true. Have you been avoiding seeing something clearly? Let me know in the comments. Because here's what I really want you to understand about this storm. It's not happening to punish you. It's not the universe being cruel. It's not evidence that you've done something wrong or that you're not good enough. It's happening because you're ready for what comes after. You're ready for the life that exists on the other side of what's about to shift. You're ready for the clarity that comes after confusion. You're ready for the peace that follows release. And that readiness, it's not something you consciously created. It's something that's been building through every hard moment, every choice you made to keep going, every time you chose yourself, even in small ways. You've been prepared, and now the preparation is complete. Now it's time for the actual transformation to occur. And yes, it's going to be intense. Yes, it's going to challenge you. Yes, there are going to be moments where you question if you can handle it, but you can. You absolutely can, because you've already survived things that felt impossible. You've already navigated challenges that seemed insurmountable. You've already proven your strength in ways you probably don't even fully recognize. And this storm, it's going to show you just how strong you actually are. Not by breaking you, but by revealing what you're made of when everything around you is shifting. Does this feel true? Comment below if this is resonating, because I want to talk about what comes after the storm, after the intensity passes, after the shifts settle, after the surprise integrates and the tears dry and you find yourself on the other side of this transformation. What's there is space. Space you haven't had in longer than you can remember. Space to breathe, space to think, space to discover who you are when you're not constantly managing crisis or holding situations together. And in that space, you're going to rebuild, not back to what was, not trying to recreate what existed before, but building something new, something that actually fits who you've become. Something that honors your growth instead of requiring you to shrink back down. And that rebuilding, it's going to feel different than anything you've built before. Because this time, you're building from wisdom, from clarity, from truth. This time, you're not accepting less than you deserve. You're not forcing things that don't fit. You're not staying in situations that require you to betray yourself. This time, you're choosing alignment. You're choosing authenticity. You're choosing yourself. And that changes everything. Have you been craving this kind of fresh start? Let me know in the comments, because what I keep sensing is you're exhausted. Yes. You're overwhelmed by the thought of more intensity. Yes. You're scared of what this storm might bring. Yes. But underneath all of that, there's also hope, quiet hope, almost afraid to acknowledge itself hope. Hope that whispers, maybe this is finally it. Maybe this is finally the shift that changes everything. Maybe I'm finally going to get to breathe again. And that hope, it's not naive. It's not foolish. It's not setting you up for disappointment. It's accurate. Because this storm, it is the shift. It is the change. It is the moment everything transforms. And on the other side, there really is relief. There really is space. There really is a version of your life that feels lighter, clearer, more aligned. You just have to make it through the storm to get there. And you will, because you're built for this. Because you've been preparing. Because you're stronger than you know. So when it comes, when the storm hits, when everything shifts, when the surprise reveals itself, stand in it. Feel it fully. Let it move through you. Don't fight it. Don't resist it. Don't try to control it. Just weather it. Trust it. Know that you're being reshaped into something more true. And on the other side, you'll understand why it had to happen exactly this way. So I don't sell futures. I build architects. No predictions, just the raw truth for the tough ones. Stay magic, stay in the now.